Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Smith from 𝐬𝐮𝐩𝐸𝐴. So this is the second last part of this Next.js series. In this video, we are going to see the data fetching techniques of Next.js. So in the last part, we have created the APIs. So this APIs, this donation.ts, this is the endpoint, and then this codes.ts. Oh, not inside this model, this codes.ts inside the API. So in this part, we are going to use this API to get the data. So let's first see the documentation of this Next.js data fetching techniques. I'll put the link of this documentation in the description box. Please check that out. Please check out the documentation. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So Next.js has three unique functions to fetch data for pre-rendering. First one is get static props, which is used for static site generation. This function only runs on build time. And then the second one is get static paths. This is also used for static site generation, but for dynamic routes. We are not going to see this function as we don't have any dynamic routes. And then we have this get server side props. This is used for server side rendering, which runs on every request. We are going to see that. Okay, and then there is a technique to update the static pages called incremental static site generation or incremental static regeneration, in short ISR. We are going to see that in action. Okay, so that's a little overview about these techniques. Just please check out the documentation. There are a lot of options you can play with. We are going to implement this family page first. So we are going to convert this page as static page. Okay. So for that, just go to people page. Sorry, family.tsx, not people. Just close the sidebar. Cool. At the bottom, you need to create a function which is called get static props. And you need to export this cause it is going to use in the build time. So export const get static props. Cool. And this will get a context which we don't really need. So context, you can also set the type, which is get static props context. Yep, it has a lot of things. So context dot, you can use the params. This is really important, but we don't need that anyway. So what we are going to do, we are going to make an API request. So just use the try catch because it's going to be an asynchronous call, and then just use fetch to make the request. You can use Axios, but I'll be going for the fetch. This is inbuilt. And now just let me grab the API endpoint, I should say. This is API/codes, right? If I am not wrong. Yes, API/codes. This will give me the data. So just copy this URL and just put it inside this fetch. Remember, inside these server side functions, I mean this get static props or get server side props and all this stuff, you need to put the absolute URL. Okay, there's no option, you need to put the absolute URL. Fine. So I'll be going for the async await. So just use async and just use await here. Just get the response. So const response. Cool. And then I need to get the data using res.json, but the data I will not create this data as const because I am also going to return this data. So just use let at the top, let data. Just remove this const from here. Cool. So this is again await res.json. Fine, pretty simple. And if anything goes wrong, just log out the error. Cool. And now the important part is, from this function you need to return the data inside a specific shape, and the shape is, let's say, return. Inside this object you need to create another object which is props as the key. Inside this props object you need to pass all the data. So let's say I want to pass the quotes. So the quotes is data. Cool. That's it. And now this quotes will be available as the property inside this family component or family page component, I should say. So just use TypeScript here. The family is a type of next page. Next page. Inside this generic, just use the type. So quotes as a type of 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿 should be auto imported. 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿 array auto imported from library/types. Cool. Just destructure this. So quotes. Cool. And now I don't need this library/data. Just comment this out. Nice. So these quotes I'll be mapping over this and then render the quote. Okay, lot of quotes. So pretty simple. I'm making a request inside this get static props to this particular URL, to this particular API endpoint, and then I'm getting the data and just returning this data inside this props as quotes. I'm getting these quotes inside this props again, just restructuring this and render over this. Pretty simple. So just run this. Let's see. I should not say any change. I should be seeing the same data. Let's see. Refresh. My next image. Cool. Just go to family, and yeah, I have the data. But now I want to log out something, like just to show that this function is getting executed. Here, just log out something. I am called. Cool. Save this and now refresh the page. Refresh. Just go back to this console and look at this. I am called. But hey, here's the problem. I've told you that this function is only called in the build time, but this is called every time the page is refreshed. What's the problem? Look at this. The page is refreshed and this is still called. Like I am called. What's going on? Well, this is because in development mode, this get static props is getting executed every time the page is refreshed. This is just to ease your development process, nothing else. So let me just quickly build this project. So npm run build. But if you are building this project with me, make sure that your development server is running. And another thing is, just go inside this middleware folder or inside this modules folder. Just go inside this middleware folder first. Just go to index.ts and make sure you are returning something from this module, because I am using ES6 modules, right? And you need to either import or export something. So just export dummy object. That's it. Save this. Just go inside this index.ts inside the modules folder and make sure you have exported something, like export a dummy object. Okay, so just run npm run build. And guys, make sure your development server is running, because it is gonna make a request to this localhost 3000 /API/quotes, and you can also see that. Just notice this development server, it should get a request. Look at this, it got the request inside the serverless function /API/quotes. And if you just go to a production server, just go inside this production server terminal, you should see this I am called. Look at this, I am called. It means this function is called in the build time, right? So let me just quickly run the production server. So npm run start. This should be running on localhost 3000, I guess. Yep. Look at this, how fast this is. So localhost 3000, just go to your browser and go inside this localhost 3000. Fine. Just go to family. Look at this, how fast this is. Right, just go to donate, just go to family. This is super fast, and that's the beauty of Next.js. You can use separate architecture in separate page. Like for example, you can use get server side props function inside a page, and then in another page you can use get static props. Anyway, so what I want to show you that if I just refresh this page, this is super fast. Okay, and then just go to its terminal and look at this. There is no console log like I am called or something like that. So it means that this function is not called, right? But what if you need to change some data? Let's say you want to change the name of this Walter Jr. or you want to add some more data. In that case, you need to rebuild the whole project, and in a giant project there are like 40 or 50 pages. In that case, it will take around 2 or 3 hours to build a project, and that is a problem. So basically this page is a static page, and now if I change some data, so just go to Mongo cluster and then change some data inside this quotes collection. Let's say this Walter Jr. I'm going to change the name. So from Walter Jr. to breakfast. Like he loves breakfast. Okay, update. And I have modified the data, right? So now if I refresh the localhost 3000/family, I should not see the new data because this page is static. Look at this, Walter Jr. So if I want to render the new data, I need to rebuild the whole project. So that's where comes the incremental static generation. So let me show you how it works. So basically, if you need to rebuild a static page after some interval, you can use this incremental static generation or incremental static regeneration. both are same. And how can we use that? Really simple. So inside this getStaticProps, when you are returning this object, you need to put another key value, which is revalidate, and then the value is the number of seconds. So let's say I want to rebuild this particular page after 10 seconds. Now here's the point you need to remember. This page will be rebuilt after 10 seconds. But if it does not get any request after 10 seconds, the page will not be rebuilt. So for example, let's say nobody is visiting this page. After 20 seconds, this page has still no visitor. After 30 seconds, still this page has no visitor. But after 31 seconds, someone visits this page. So after 31 seconds, when the page got the first request, Next.js will start rebuilding this particular page. So it means that the first user after this 10-second interval will still see the old page, and meanwhile Next.js will start rebuilding the page. If it seems confusing, don't worry, I'm gonna show you this in practical. Okay, so basically rebuild 10 seconds, save this, and now just let me rebuild this project again. But this time I want to do something else. I want to close the development server too. So it means that it can't make a request to this localhost 3001. In that case, it will get an error. So the data will be null. If the data is null, I should pass an empty array. So just use a nullis character or nullis operator, I should say, this empty array. If you are not familiar with this operator, it is nullis operator. It means that if the first value is null, it will execute the second value, and if the first value is not null, it will not reach to the second value. Pretty simple. Okay, so just save this, and now just run npm run dev. Oh, not run dev, run build. Look at this. It will get an error. I mean an error inside this function. Yeah, look at this. While building this project, it got an error like this: connection refused. Yeah, and I am called as this function is called, but the project is successfully built. So just run npm run start to run the production server. Cool. And now just go to localhost 3000 / family, just refresh the page, and you should not see any data. Refresh this. Look at this. We don't have any data because it got an empty array. Just let me make this side by side. Cool. Is it cool? Not cool. I want you to focus on this terminal. Okay, so just refresh this page, and look at this. It got a request, and that is because the 10 second is passed. Okay, just quickly refresh this, and look at this. I am called, and now just quickly refresh this again. Refresh, and it has not got any request. Refresh. So if you see any logs here, it means that the 10 seconds has passed. So just quickly refresh this. Just give me a second. Just let me make this 15 seconds because my server is slow. So revalidate, not 15, let's say 20 seconds. Okay, so just save this and quickly rebuild this project. Npm run build. Find the project is built. Just let me run that production server. So npm run start. Cool. Just expand the terminal, and now the revalidate is 20 seconds. Cool. Just refresh the page. Fine. Look at this. It has refreshed and it has not got any request. Refresh again. Refresh. It hasn't got any request. Refresh. It means that the 20 second is not passed. So inside the 20 second or inside every 20 second, when the page is rebuilt, all the users will see the same page, the page which is already built. So refresh. Look at this. After 20 seconds, it's got a request. Refresh this again. So it means that if I now just run this development server using npm run dev, it should make a request after 20 seconds, right? And in that case, it should get the data. So let me just run this development server npm run dev. Fine. Okay. Now look at this. I guess 20 seconds is passed. Refresh this page. Look at this. It makes a request to this API/codes, and you can see the log I am called. So it means now if I just refresh the page, I should see the data because the page is built. Refresh the page, and here it is, my data. Look at this. Show you the terminal. Yep, look at this, I have the data. Okay, and now if I just change something manually, again let's say this breakfast to Walter Jr., back to Walter Jr., just save this or update, and now if I just go to localhost 3000 and refresh the page, you should not see the data, you should not see the updated data, and that is because this is the first request. But meanwhile Next.js started building the page, and now I hope the page is built. Just refresh the page and look at this, we have this Walter Jr. So what does it mean? It means that we don't need to rebuild the whole project. Let me show you again. So just refresh this. Okay, 20 seconds counter has started. Just go to the database and change something like JCP to just remove the JC, and let's make this Kalin. I don't know whoever it is, Kalin Bhaiya or whoever. So update, and now if you just go to localhost 3000/family, just refresh the page, you should not see the updated data. But I hope 20 seconds is passed. Let's see, refresh the page. Look at this, Kalin. So that's how incremental static generation works. Okay, you can make this page as static, or you can make this page as incremental static generation, whatever you want. Okay, I'll leave this as incremental static generation. Cool. Just let me kill this production server, and now let's implement the statistics. I'm talking about the statistics, the stats. How should I implement this page? Static page? Nope, no way. This page is not going to be static because the data is going to be changed after every request. After every donation I should see the last 5 donators, so I can't make this a static page. Then the second option is dynamic static page. Nope, this page is not dynamic, the URL is not dynamic. Then the third is server-side rendering, which is going to be executed on every request. So let's use that. So just go to the documentation and just search for get server-side props. Here it is. So look at the description. If you export an async function called get server-side props from a page, Next.js will pre-render this page on each request using this data returned by this get server-side props. So let me just quickly copy this function. This is again the same thing. Okay. Just close this terminal, the second terminal. Just go to stats. Okay, here just after this page, just implement this get server-side props. Context, you can set the type, which we again don't really need. So get server-side props context. Here it is. Okay, so again just make a request. Can I just copy this from this family, the fetch thing, just try catch, just copy all of this, just go to stats, put it here. Fine. So I have this data. The URL is /API/donation, I guess. Yep, donation. So it will give me the last 5 donation, right? Fine. And now I'll just send the data as donation and pass the data. Cool. Save this, and now I can just grab this as props. So again, just use the TypeScript. Next page, let me just increase the font size. It is a terminal, expand editor, there are a lot of stuff. So next page, inside this generic, just use donation or donations, should be donations, Sumit, and it has a type 𝐼_donation, right? No, not 𝐼_donation. What are you talking about? Let's go to libraries. I guess I have made a type. Yep, 𝐼_donation. Then why it is not showing in my IntelliJ? 𝐼_donation should be auto imported. Fine, imported. It's an array, and here just make this donations. Cool. So now I can just map over these donations and render the data. Let's remove this array 5, the dummy array. This donation, something went wrong, can't find the name donations. What are you talking? Oh, I have not distracted that. Cool. Donations. Fine. So again, pretty simple stuff. I've created a function which is called get server-side props because I want this page to be rebuilt on every request. Again, I am making a request to this localhost 3000/API/donation, and by the way guys, this localhost 3000 should be coming from an environment variable, and I'll make this in the deployment part, don't worry. And then I'm getting this data and logging out if anything goes wrong. Also log out something like server side function called props function called, okay, and then return an object. Inside this object just use props and just pass the props. Then you can destructure this, just get the donation and map over this. Just change the data. So this is donation dot name. I guess I have this type, then why it is not showing the intelligence? Oh, donation dot name and the amount. So donation dot amount, just use a $. Fine, save this. Let's see, refresh the page. This localhost 3000, just go to stats, and look at this, we got our donation. Refresh the page. Fine, just go to the console and you should see that this function is called, this server side props called, okay, because I have refreshed the page 3 times. Fine. So now let's implement this total donation, and then we are going to implement this donate function like the post request. Okay, so let's implement this. Oh, what is going wrong here? It's a bug. If donate is in yellow and family is also in yellow, I need to fix that. Okay, so just go to stats, just implement this total donation. This is pretty simple. I'm going to create a function and then I'm just going to call this function. So let's create a function. Cool. Let's name this get total donation. Okay, the spelling is wrong. Sumit donation. Oh, DONATION. Oh, this function has no argument, but it will return a string. So string. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to use the reduce method of array. So donations dot reduce. So inside this callback function, first argument is the accumulator and then the item, which is, let's say, donation. Cool. Just use an arrow function and get the data. So basically return accumulator plus donation dot amount. Cool. And the accumulator starts with 0. Fine, save this. And anything is wrong here? Yep, that is because I have not written any data, and that's the beauty of TypeScript. Look at this. So const, let's say total amount. Fine, just return this, return total amount. I can still make this shorter, so I can just remove this return because it has only one statement inside this callback function, inside this arrow function I should say. And now just save this. Oh, I need to pass a string, so just use, and there's a reason because I've used string. Just use a template string and then use $total amount and use a normal normal $sign. And now it's a string. That is perfectly fine. My TypeScript is happy. Just grab this get total donation and put it here inside a curly brace because I'm going to execute some JavaScript. Just call this. Fine. Okay, it should work. And now just go to donate screen and let's implement this donate. Pretty simple. So I'm going to create a function which is add donation in database, and then I'll call this after this success, after this on success. Okay, so just create a function. It's a const add donation. Again, the spelling is wrong. In DB, it should get the name is string. I'm also gonna make this an asynchronous function because I'm going to make asynchronous call. Fine, so just use a try catch. Here I'm going to use the fetch again. So fetch, I'm using fetch after around 1 year. just grab the URL from the donation, no, from the stats. Yep. So just grab this URL, but this time I'm gonna make a post request. Okay, inside this config, oh wow, inside this config just use method, this is post, and then the body, just pass an object. Here just pass the name and the amount. I can get the name from the function argument, and the amount I can get this from the state, but something is wrong, and that is because you need to pass this object as stringified. So just use JSON.stringify and wrap this object. Cool, save this. Fine. So just grab this data, const response. Cool. Just grab the data, so const data as again await res.json. Fine. And for now just log out the data. Cool. Save this, and if anything goes wrong just log out the error. Fine. So just call this add donation in DB. After this on success, just call this and just pass the name. So details, oh, details, if you remember from the last video, details.pair .name .given name. Yep, cool. But we need to modify our API, and that is because I'm passing this as stringified value. Look at this, as stringified value, right? So I need to parse that in my API. So just go to donation, and here inside this post request just use json.parse and then pass the body. And by the way guys, if anything goes wrong in your code, I'll put the GitHub link in the description box, so you can just check that out. Okay, so just save this, and now just go to donate. Again there is a bug, I need to fix that. So just go to donate. Cool. I've selected $10. Click on PayPal. I'm sure that I've forgotten the password. You are logging into an account of the seller for the purchase. Oh, this is the same account, I guess. Just grab an account. Let's say this one, the second one. Just copy the URL. The name is John Doe. Just go here, click to continue, replace this, just copy the password, copy this, go to donate, click to continue, put the password here, click on login, and that is fine. Okay, I've been successfully logged in. Click on pay now, and I guess everything is fine. Just go to console. Yeah, we have this object, and this is a response from our database. So it means that if I just go to statistics, I should see the John Doe at the top. Look at this, John Doe, I mean the given name, the first one, and it has $10. Let's make another one. Just go to donate, and by the way guys, just see the total donation. This is $26, so 10 plus 10 is 20 plus 5 plus 1 is 26. Let's go to donate again. Let's make $5. Click on PayPal. Just donate, click on pay now. Let's go to stats, and yeah, John at the top with $5. So that's it for this video. In the next part, we are gonna first refactor our project. Basically, we need to fix these bugs, and then we need to fix the index.ts file, and then we are going to deploy our project. So that's it. See you in the next video. But before that, please hit the like button. Please, because it's 2 AM, around 2 AM. So please hit the like button. See you in the next video. Bye.